Hi, my name is Bill Westmacott, and actually I have a really special guest on with me today, coming all the way from Toronto, Canada. His name is JP Laporte. He's actually recognized as one of the top pension lawyers in Canada. So I want to firstly thank you, JP, for joining me. And I thought JP is also actually the CEO and founder of Integris Pension Management. And rather than me go on, I'd rather actually hear from you, JP. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself professionally and maybe your career story, and then kind of how you ended up starting Integris. So maybe we could start with that.
Sure, yeah, no, thanks, Bill. So I am a pension lawyer by training,
Yes.
and I spent my career in Toronto in large private sector firms specializing in the area of pension law. So
Okay.
my clients would have been multi-billion-dollar pension plans with tons and tons of employees, plan members in them. And of course, these very complicated structures have a lot of legal issues that come with them. So that was my bread and butter.
Okay.
And I realized that while my clients were enjoying these gold-plated pension plans and could
Yes.
retire early in a full pension, people in the small private sector, like myself, had just an RSP.
Yeah.
That's all that was offered to us. And so I started thinking, gee, I wonder if we could take these amazing gold-plated pension plans that teachers and civil servants have enjoyed for decades, and whether or not we could miniaturize them and offer them to people in the private sector that are running their little business. And that was the birth of the idea of having a PPP.
And how long ago did you start Integris, JP?
Well, we officially incorporated in 2012, but really started selling in 2014.
Okay, awesome. So also, I just thought it'd be nice to kind of get to know a little bit about you outside of your career as a pension lawyer. Tell me what you're passionate about outside of helping people with pensions.
Well, I'm a big family man,
Okay.
so my family is everything to me. So I love to spend time with them, go on trips, crisscross the United States, go to Europe, do stuff.
Nice.
And the other is the environment. So I've actually have a master's in environmental studies from the University of Toronto.
Awesome.
And so that's another something that I find very interesting.
So do you incorporate that with your practice, or is that just something more that you kind of stay on top of on the side?
Well, when you sign up for a PPP and we set up what's called a Statement of Investment Policies and Procedures, a
Yeah.
SIP and P, in it, there is a section that deals with environmental, social, and governance factors used in investing the money.
Oh, nice.
So it finds itself through that.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Hey, so what was really the main reason you actually created the personal pension plan? What if you would say, what was kind of the core motivation behind that?
Yeah. So it's a bit of a story. I was in one of my Bay Street law firms asked to provide some input on work-life balance.
Okay.
We were all the lawyers were asked, what could the firm do better to help lawyers? Because we were losing a lot of female lawyers to childhood and childbearing years and things like that and long hours. So silly me, I said, well, why don't we give lawyers a pension plan so they have something to retire on? And when the managing partner of the firm decided to gather everyone and provide the results of the survey,
Yeah.
the very first thing that came up was, well, someone suggested that we offer a pension plan. And he just started laughing and said, well, that's not going to happen. And moved on to the next recommendation. And, and I thought to myself, you know what? There's something wrong with this. My clients have amazing pension plans. I'm a pension lawyer and I don't have a pension plan. It's like the shoemaker where the kids run around barefoot.
Yeah.
And so that was the impetus for doing research and saying, well, what could a small business owner set up in order to approximate what a teacher or a civil servant is enjoying through a government pension plan? And I discovered the individual pension plan at first, the IPP, but realized that there were a lot of problems with an IPP. So then I started thinking about solutions as to how to improve on the IPP to make it more flexible, more tax effective, uh, more better through better governance, and that's how the PPP was born.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So just maybe a couple questions in closing here. Who would you say are, in your experience, the best candidates for a PPP? And then finally, what's the best way to fund a PPP?
Okay. So in terms of who is it for, it's really designed for owner-operators of small businesses,
okay,
which includes your widget manufacturers, your convenience store owner, your franchisee of a, Tim Hortons or Burger. It doesn't matter. The brands don't matter.
Right.
But these little companies that operate a franchise, whether it's a gas station, all your professionals that have the right to incorporate. So your legal lawyers, doctors, dentists, pharmacists, accountants, real estate brokers, in some provinces, real estate agents.
Yeah.
All of these people are all candidates. And then the final category is what we call the C-suite executives. So these are highly compensated or well compensated employees that are not owner operated. They do not have any shares. They don't own any or a sufficient number of shares in the company for which with whom they're working.
Okay.
So all three of these categories are perfect candidates, and that represents about, the numbers vary, but it's about 1.2 to 1.5 million Canadians that should upgrade from an RSP to a PPP.
Okay. Well, hey, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, and as for your question about how do you fund it?
Yes.
Well, there are three different channels through which you can fund a PPP. There are the employer contributions. Okay. So taking pre-tax dollars from the business, not paying the tax and dumping it into the pension plan. That's one. We allow for employee contributions as well.
Okay.
And finally, we have what are called qualifying transfers or AVC transfers. So this is, we can fund the plan by transferring money from existing RRSPs into the plan on a tax-free basis.
So if a client had, say, $250,000 built up in an RSP, would they be able to transfer that whole, like say they've been in business for 20 years or 10 years, would they be able to transfer that over to fund the plan?
Yeah, all of it, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, so a portion of it might be required under the qualifying transfer rules. And this is when a company recognizes past service, right? Past service is the ability to put more money in the plan to approximate what you would have contributed had the plan been set up in the past.
Okay.
So the government requires us to calculate what's called a qualifying transfer amount.
Okay.
So some of your $250,000 RSP would be rolled into the pension plan, again, on a tax-deferred basis to do that. The balance of your money, what wasn't needed for the qualifying transfer, could be rolled into the additional voluntary contribution account of the PPP. Again, no tax. It's done under a CRE Form T 2033.
Okay.
And that money now ends up inside the pension plan, and then a bunch of things kick in when you do that, like creditor protection of the RSP, fee deductibility, access to the HST or GST credit, and access to non-RSP eligible asset classes.
Okay. Hey, well, you know what? I really value your time, JP, and I really want to thank you for spending a few minutes with me. I think that's a great just introduction to who you are a little bit and about your passion to help business owners, professionals create their own personal pension plan. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Take care, Bill.